Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is I Love to Be Selling, Kathy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
Great, great. Thank you for coming on and hanging out with us today. Go
My
ahead and introduce
pleasure.
yourself. Tell people who you are, where you're from, and tell them what you do.
Sure. So I'm Kathy Terrell. Hi, everybody. I'm in New York City. I've been an eBay seller in New York City for well over 15 years. I came to New York years ago as a professional actress. If you don't know, my background is professional acting. When I
Really?
graduated, from school, I went to Northwestern right outside of Chicago, the Windy
All right.
City. And
Awesome.
So came to New York for theater and did great. I did off Broadway. I was on soap operas. I was on All My Children, Another
Really?
World. Actually, I've had people recognize me from All My Children. I'm like, yay, good for you guys.
Is
Um,
that weird? Like if people recognize you,
it
like
is, especially
strangers,
because
are like, hey, I know you, and you're
I
like,
had
where did this person know
shoulder-length
me
hair,
from?
and I'm like, God bless you. And then plus, I played a nurse, Jeff, which was funny. And back then, when you played nurses, you had those funny white hats on. So I'm like, good, you guys are doing great. Um,
Yeah.
I landed on QVC Shopping Channel because of my theater performing background, and I also have extensive retail background. This is like my background coming into eBay. And so I landed on QVC as what is called a product presenter. So, Jeff, I wasn't a host. They have like main hosts. They live in Westchester, which is where QVC is filmed. And they like host 3 and 4 hours of live. It's live TV. um,
Awesome.
and I would come as a product presenter. So I was hired by various companies to represent them. And I did that very successfully for 6 years. And then what happened for me, and I was reverse commuting. So I'm commuting from New York City, which is where my family is, my husband, my son, to Westchester. And my mother, who was living in New York City, started to have failing health. So at the beginning, it was just, every now and then needing to run her to the doctor, or she would go in and out of the emergency room over an issue. And it was getting worse and worse and worse. It was happening more and more often. And it's very hard if you're doing live performing to deal with doctors and hospitals and emergency rooms while you're trying to do a live performance. It's just really, really difficult. So I basically sat down with my husband and I just said, this isn't working. I really need to be there for mom because clearly she's getting worse and worse and I need to be with her for all these doctor's appointments. So I left QVC presenting, came back to be based in New York City. My focus really was my mom. My focus was not on anything else. And I just started selling like a lot of people start on eBay and Poshmark and Macari and all the sites, very part-time. No thought to anything except for
Right.
taking care of my mom and bringing in some money. And then after mom passed, it was like, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back to full-time performing, which is what I was doing, or do I want to scale eBay? And for me, Jeff, what I realized was because I've been doing retail for 25 years, I had done QVC before that. I did a lot of merchandising here in New York at various department stores. Was eBay was like the perfect blend of QVC. You're presenting on TV, but you're selling something that people cannot touch. And there's a real skill to that, which often as sellers we don't talk about. We talk a lot about inventory sourcing, creating great listings, which of course you want to do. But really, when you're creating a listing, when you're sourcing products, is you're going to have to take that product, whatever it is, and I've got stuff on my, like this pen, and you have to figure out a way to sell something. This is why QVC was so good. You have to sell something that your person can't touch. You have to describe it and take pictures in such a way that they absolutely know what this is. Some things are easier to do that than others. So I scaled my eBay. I love it. Took a couple of years, but I'm full-time eBay seller for quite some time now. And then I'm also an eBay sales and social media coach. Back in the day when eBay Radio was around, which is before the eBay for Business podcast, they tapped me
Yeah.
to come on a lot as a guest speaker. And also they had in-person events because this is back before eBay had started all the eBay Opens. So I would present there. Then eBay started to roll out eBay Opens, and I've presented there. And that's
Yeah.
me. I just love selling. And again, my background is retail, and my background really is how to sell something that people can't touch, because there really is a skill to it. It's also fun. It's like, how do I describe this? How do I picture this? How do I put it in text so that I'm going to get the best price, which is what you want, and so that the buyer can find you. Because you can source, everybody knows this, you can source the greatest product in the world. You can have the coolest collectible, the greatest eBay shirt, whatever it is. But if you can't describe it well, especially now, years ago, you could pretty much throw anything on eBay and it would sell. But very much now, if you don't present your product in a way that the buyer knows what they're getting, you're going to get less money. And it may not sell at all, or it will take forever to sell.
Yeah. And so is there a certain niche or a certain area that you kind of stick to with your reselling business? I'm just curious.
When I started years ago, and I do recommend, because I know a lot of different people listen to you. So I really recommend when you're new, and particularly if you're a casual part-time seller, is really, I say to you, don't buy anything. Buy a postage scale that you're going to want. And really, I really mean that. You really do want a postage scale. They're not a lot of money. It's like $15, $16. It's well worth getting because you'll save yourself a lot of headaches. Is sell what's on hand. And people always think clothing, because most of us have, more clothing than we need. But also look around your home, your CDs, DVDs, if you still have media in the house. But books sell on eBay, bric-a-brac, home decor, kids' toys, and even over-the-counter medicines, as long as watch the expiration date, make sure it's legal to sell. But oftentimes over-the-counter, non-prescription stuff, I've done that a bunch of times, sells really well.
Right.
Particularly now, because so many places are still shut down. You may think, like, who would buy this? Like, I can just go to the corner drugstore. Yeah, but not everybody can. And some areas still have shortages. Like here in New York, we still have shortages. I'll go into a store. This happened the other day. It was my toothpaste that my husband likes. We didn't have it. It was gone. There was none. I'm like, get out of here. And you talk to the manager, and they literally don't know when the things are going to come in. It's up to the warehouse. It's distribution issues. So some areas of the country, you might think, well, like everybody can get this denture cream or shampoo or conditioner or whatever it is. But the answer is no, they can't. Or it's so challenging to go into the physical store that they would far prefer to go online and click a mouse and buy it from you. So really is just go through your house, and even experienced sellers, it never hurts, because we're coming up on spring cleaning season. Go through. I have sold remote controls, because the TV breaks.
I just sold one today. Go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say that I had a similar situation last week. I wanted to go just buy just clothing at Walmart. I was looking for certain socks, and I was looking for T-shirts, just regular stuff off the rack. And I went to like 3 different Walmarts, and all the Walmarts were like sold out, and I couldn't find nothing that was my size that fit me. So I was like, well, I'm not driving to 3 or 4, more Walmarts and spend all day driving around the city. I just went on eBay and I found the same item that was actually cheaper with free shipping, and it was shipped to my door in 2 days. So yeah, people are definitely paying for the convenience, because you got to think about how much time and gas they'd be spending driving around the city looking for something. And it's like, man, I don't want to spend half my day looking for a stupid T-shirt. I could just press a button and have it shipped to my door. So we're live. I want to say hey to a few people in the chat real quick. We have Wendy is here hanging out with us. She says, hey, Jeff and Kathy. She says, what year were you doing All My Children? I wanted to say hey to Steve from Resale.
I'm trying to think. It was Resale in the Dojo. 90s. I was in Susan Lucci's plot line. Everybody who knows Susan Lucci, Erica Kane. I was in her plot line when she was in the hospital. If you can remember this, she got slashed by the evil drug dealer, and I was her personal nurse, Nurse Beverly.
Wow. All right. Awesome. And I wanted to say hey to Jen's Closet Gems. She says, hey, Jeff and Kathy, nice to meet you. So we have a lot of different variety of guests on our show. And one of the things that we like to talk about, we're going to talk a lot about reselling today, but I kind of wanted to get into your backstory, because you said that you moved from you were in Chicago and you moved to New York, right? And then and you said that you had, as I looked you up on Instagram, and I do my research, I was watching some of your YouTube videos, said that you also had a brick and mortar store. So Talk a little bit about.
No, I didn't have a brick and mortar store, Jeff. What it was is I worked in brick and mortar retailer. So there was a lot of brick and mortar retail where I did merchandising and displays, which is how I got my retail background, which is how actually I was discovered. A brand actually saw me in a store and approached me and asked me if I would be interested in going on QVC.
Okay, awesome. So go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just curious to kind of like how you decided, like, hey, out of all the cities in the country, let's go move to New York. What was the draw? Was it because your family lived there, or what was it?
Well, my family was East Coast. At the time in New Jersey, and I picked New York was theater. I wanted to do live theater, which I did. I got to work off Broadway. I worked regional theater. I also worked soap operas. And back then, soap operas were either Los Angeles or New York City. Yeah. The soaps that were in New York City were One Life to Live, All My Children, Guiding Light. I'm going to take people back. My grandmother's favorite soap opera was General Hospital. She always wanted to know why I wasn't on General Hospital, but that was out of Los Angeles. So I did that again for years and years and years. And then I was tapped to go on QVC, which I was like, sure. When you do QVC, it's a very extensive vetting process. So you don't just go, hey, I want to go on QVC. You go there, you meet them, they check you out. You talk one-on-one with them, you go through training. It's very, very interesting. But the thing that's great about selling on QVC is you learn an enormous amount about sales, because not only are you having to sell on camera when you get there. So let's say like today, like 3:00 we were meeting. Typically, if I was going to go on air at 3, I would probably be at QVC by 11:30 in the morning, because you got to get there, check in. You got to meet your host before they go on air, because you got to briefly talk about the product, go over, what the product is. You have to set up your set. So you're going to have an area where you're demonstrating your product. You have to set that up. Some of that can take a lot of time. Like if you're doing a food product, there's extensive setup on that. And then you go and hang out in what is called a green room area. If you're a star, like back in when I was on, you had a lot of really, really big famous celebrities would be on, like Joan Rivers was on when I was on. Really? They would have their own private dressing room. We were like in a bullpen dressing room. And what was great was you had all these monitors. So you watched other people selling. It's like us as sellers, looking at each other's, listening to each other, watching each other on YouTube. You'd watch them. And they have these big monitors, and you could see the sales spike, which would be really interesting if we could do that on each other's stuff. Right. See the sales spike. So let's say you're presenting the pen. I'd watch the numbers. They'd be going boop, 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 and all of a sudden up. What did you do? Did he show it in a certain way? Did he talk about it in a certain way? Plus, you had live callers sometimes, which was great. The caller would call in. It's like getting a review on your product on eBay. Would call in and say, oh, I'm using it. It's my favorite pen. My husband gave it to me. Boom, the sales go right through the roof. So you learn is what part of that item was attractive to the buyer. What were they interested in? When you talked about it, when did the sales spike? Was it about the color? Was it about that it came with 3 refills? Was it about that it lasted for 6 months? And that's something we don't get on eBay. Hopefully one of these days we'll get a little more traffic information. Well, like you have a YouTube channel, so you know this. You can look at it and you can see which of your YouTubes gets the most views. So then people are really interested in that YouTube. For us as sellers, we do have traffic information. If you don't know this, if you have an eBay store, you have a sales traffic report. And go and look which of your items is getting the most traffic. The other thing you can look at is there's a graph in your traffic report, and you can see what your impressions, that's like how often your items are being shown, what your impressions are like. And they typically have a graph from the same time. If I remember correctly, you can look at, I believe, last month, you can customize for last year. And it's good to look at, are you getting a decent amount of impressions? If you're not, you want to go back and take a look at it. Like take a look at, how are my keywords? Your keywords are the words that you're using to describe your items. So for instance, back to the pen, it's a ballpoint. Are you talking about that? Because there's all different kinds of pens. Even something like a sneaker, it's the size, it's the colors. Where is it made? Like with blue jeans, sometimes they'll have a higher end line that's made in Europe. It's made in Germany, it's made in Italy. There's a cheaper line that's made in Mexico. So you may think like, oh, well, who cares where this is made? Well, it does matter, because people that buy those jeans know that the Italian ones are worth like $80 and the Mexican ones are worth more like $30. Same thing with collectible figures. Sometimes the size will matter, whether it's small, medium, or large, what year it was made. I remember I sold a giant Superman. This was like 3 years ago. It was a collectible figure. It had been used in a store display. And when I went to list it, what I noticed was, because there must have been a bunch of stores that got this, it must have been like for a movie or something, that the ones that were made USA went higher, and the ones that were made in China, obviously less. So, and you got to like look at the figurine. Sometimes it's on the back of the head. Sometimes it's on their butt. You got to look around and see, is there a country of manufacture on it when you're selling the items? Because always, everybody knows this, if it's made in Europe, if it's made in USA is really big. If it's made in USA, you're typically going to get more money than when it's made in China. And if it's vintage, if it's made in Japan, that sounds like it could be in the 50s. It can help you date something, because something that might be made in China now, if it was back like in the 50s or the 60s, it would be made in Japan, made in Taiwan. So the country of manufacture can really be a key to, first of all, how much money you're going to make. Is it worth buying? Is it worth listing? And then if you're going to get more money for it, so you price it well, because you want to make sure to get the most money for your item.
Yeah, well, what Kathy is talking about, guys, if you guys don't know, there's a place you can go to on your eBay Seller Hub, and you can click the traffic report, and it'll show you how many views, what's the click-through rate on the item, how many impressions does that particular item have. And like, for example, let's say if you want to put your item on sale, like for Black Friday, you want to put your eBay store on 10% off. It'll show you what's the conversion rate, like how many people are viewing your item, what's the click-through rate, and then once they clicked on the item, what was the conversion rate of them actually buying that item. So that's what she's talking about. If you guys look on their eBay Seller Hub, it will show you all that. Let me catch a few people in the chat real quick. I wanted to say hey to Joey Bada Bing 22. He's in the chat, coming by, hanging out with us. My buddy BK from the Rockies says like, share, subscribe, and comment. Says drop questions in the chat. We have Mike just stopped by. He says, how do you try to keep away from listing burnout? And we had a question from Steve. He says, what is your favorite items to sell on QVC?
Okay, so we'll do listing burnout first, and then actually QVC. Can I be honest? I sold a variety of QVC. When I was on QVC, I sold a lot of housewares. I also sold a scale. I really enjoyed them all because they were all really, really different. But actually, I'm going to say, I sold an ice cream maker. It didn't do that well. I was bummed. And I think it's just because it was very easy to get in the stores. So it's like, why would I buy this on QVC? The ice cream maker was fun because I have to learn how to use the product before I sell it. So I literally had, I'm putting that in quotes, had to make ice cream for like 2 months in my home. My husband was my guinea pig, and also my friends. And I was literally just making quarts and quarts of ice cream and sorbet and all kinds of stuff. So that was a lot of fun because like, oh, I just have to make this and test this. So that was a lot of fun to do. Listing burnout. I think what's important, and you can get burnout on any part of your eBay business. You can get burned out on sourcing. Typically, we all love to shop, so we don't get burned down on that. But you can get burned out on that too, where you walk into a store and you're just like, you know what? I don't want to look. I don't care. I don't care if it's on sale. I just, but listing burnout is what's going on. Do I have huge amounts of unlisted inventory, which can happen? And I'm just really falling behind on getting things listed because I'm so in love with shopping, or because I hate listing so much, I keep buying, but I'm not, getting it up to get it listed. So what you got to look at is that unlisted inventory is money. You are staring at money, and that's money that could be in your bank account, and it's not. It's in that home decor. It's in those video games. It's in, the microwave oven. It's in the toaster oven. It's in the shoes, the sneakers, whatever's not listed. So it's like that can be a great motivation, which is I want to pay bills. I'm doing this for a business. I'm doing this for a living. Think about how can I make this more fun? Because typically with listing burnout, I'm really tired and I'm cranky and I just don't want to do it. So play music. I'll do that. I'll just throw Tina Turner's my favorite. I throw on Proud Mary and we start bopping around and we are doing our listing. I set a timer.
Yeah.
I actually have a little clock right next to my computer. I mean, there's a clock on my computer, but this is good because it's easier to see. And I go, okay, I only have to do listings for 30 minutes, not 2 hours, not 30 minutes. We're going to get them up. I do batch. I think that's very helpful. I think it's very foolish to take a picture, then come over, list it, do things in batches. It makes it a lot easier. So whatever you have unlisted,
Right.
maybe make it smaller batches. Like I'm going to grab 5 items, not 10, not 20, not 5. Okay, just 5. Grab the 5. Grab 5 similar. So 5 mugs, 5 shirts, 5 video games, 5 lamps, whatever it is, 5. Take them over, do your photo setup. Okay, take your pictures, do whatever editing you need to do, throw them in the file, step 1. And of course, you're playing wonderful music and boogieing while you're doing this. Then you come over, and it's up to you if you want to use your phone, right? Some people start their listings on their phone. They find that way easier. They just want to get the pictures up, do the title, and then save it as a draft. Then they come to their desktop. I list with desktop. I just find it easier. I have a nice big screen. And then come in. And when you're doing similar, what's easier is you've done your research. So let's say it's mugs, because mugs is one that a lot of people sell. Oh, and the other thing with mugs, you do want to measure size. So if you don't know this trick, take the mug, take a cup of water. I use a Pyrex measuring cup or whatever measuring cup you have. Throw the water in and throw it in. Fill your mug up with water. Dump it in the measuring cup. Because mugs are 10 ounce, 12 ounce, 14, 16, 18, and it matters. I'm a big coffee drinker, so I don't want a 10 ounce mug. It's like, to me, that's like a demi-tasse. So the ounces matter. It will also help you to sell. So while you're taking pictures, you're measuring your mug, you're writing notes, so you've got it all on a sheet. You come, and of course, you're still playing funky music, but you've done your research. So you know the keyword is like if it has a handle, the color, the size, manufacturer, because a mug is going to matter. Is it Italy, France, China, whatever it is? Is it microwavable? It should say on the base of the mug, it matters because people want to reheat their coffee. So you're going to do your wonderful title. You've got your pictures upload. You've got your item specifics. You've got your description. Boom. If you're not using like a CSV file, that's when people do like a ton of listings and they upload them all at once. Click sell similar, right? Because you basically got the listing. Change the keywords that you need to. Like this is a state of New Mexico mug. It's not made in Canada. It's made in France. Maybe the colors are different. And then you can really knock them out. And then when you're done, like I've done my 30 minutes of listing or my 30 minutes of taking pictures, walk away. Take a 10-minute break. Do something that you like to do. Flip a show on you like, call a friend to watch the clock so you're not on the phone for an hour of schmoozing. 10 minutes, hey, go out for a walk, run your dog out, pull a couple of weeds in the garden, and then move on to something else. The other thing with listing burnout, whatever part of eBay listing you hate the most, whether it's taking pictures or writing descriptions, for me, do it first thing. I find for me, or do it when you're most energized. For me, I'm most energized in the morning, okay? I would rather get the thing I really don't like, sort of like a root canal approach, done. It's done. And then I can go on to what I love, the shopping, the shipping, whatever it is. But do it first and get it over with. Otherwise, what happens, Jeff, is you spend your whole day and you're going, oh, I got to do whatever it is, the thing that you don't like. Okay, I got to take pictures. Oh, I got to take measurements of that stuff. Oh, I've got to put it on the mannequin. Do it first. Get it done. Get it over with and then move on. But do take a little break, reward yourself, whatever that looks like. For me, I love to take walks, so I'll run outside for 5 or 10 minutes, just walk around the block and come back. Especially right now because the weather's really nice. But reward yourself. Don't just keep going, because sometimes burnout is, honestly, you're working too many hours. And what happens is if you're working 12, 14 hours or you're working 3 hours straight without a break, you think you're being really productive. Like, oh, I got 10 listings up or 15. And if you actually worked for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then walked away for 10 minutes, you'd get a lot more done. Because if you're just working, you slow down and you don't even realize it. You just start dragging.
Yeah.
We're doing this because we love it. We love selling. We love shipping. We love being our own boss. We love having our own business. So figuring out ways to keep the joy in selling, so it's not like, oh, I'm a seller. Ugh.
Right. It's funny.
We left the 9 to 5 because it was like, ugh.
Right. I was going to say something similar to what Kathy was saying. As far as if you have a listing burnout, I would try to find items that you like listing. Like me, I really don't like listing clothing, so I stay away from clothing. But if I like listing video games, I'm going to be in a niche of something that I enjoy, so it doesn't feel like work. And another thing is that Kathy touched on is, do stuff in batches. I'll put sometimes, let's say if my goal is to list 50 items, I'll have like 5 stacks of 10. I'll have like 5 stacks of 10. So I'll list 10 items. And then like she said, like Kathy said, you'll get up, take a break, go do the laundry, go grab something to eat, go for a walk, whatever, talk to your friend or whatever. Sometimes if you play a video game on your phone or something for a while, take a break, come back, list another 10 items, because you're chunking it down to little bite-sized pieces. Instead of looking at it as a big mountain, now you're looking at it as, okay, I just have 5 little bite-sized pieces that I have to break down. And my third tip I would tell you guys is, this is what I say is, I look at eBay as a bank account. So every time I deposit items on my eBay bank account, I almost think about eBay as I'm writing a check and I'm waiting for the check to clear the bank. So let's say if I list it, like for example, I'll show you guys, I just had this big box come in today of DVDs. So let's say there's 100 DVDs in this box. Let's say I can sell it for $10 a piece times 100. Okay. So that's $1,000 worth of merchandise. Well, in my mind, I think, hey, I'm writing myself $1,000 check on eBay, and I'm just waiting for that check to clear the bank. And then once you hear ka-ching, then you know that particular check cleared the bank. You're going to box it up, put it in a little padded envelope, put a shipping label on it, and ship it out the door. So that's kind of like a little Jedi mind trick that I do is I say, hey, I'm writing myself, a check, and I'm waiting for this check to clear the bank. So you got to give yourself some type of extra motivation. It's almost like, when you used to work a 9 to 5 job, the boss would say, hey, we're going to give you 4 hours overtime, and we're going to pay you time and a half, and we're going to pay you double time. Use that same mind trick and say, hey, I'm giving myself, let's say I'm listing 50 items times $10 items. I'm writing myself a check for a $500 check, and I wait for this check to clear the bank. Because it's like, if I was to give Kathy and say, hey, Kathy, I'm writing you a check for $500, all you have to do is go deposit your bank account. You'd be like, well, sure, Jeff, let's go do it. But when it's time for you to sit down and list, you're just like, oh my gosh, I got 50 items I have to list today. So do that. And Kathy's a morning person. I'm a night person. I go in my room, I shut the door. It's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. No one's calling me. No one needs anything. I listen to my music. I get into my zone, and I just crank out the listings. And like I said, I may not do 100 at one time. I may do, stack of 10, stack of 10, stack of 10, stack of 10. And once I get my 10 listings up, I may go grab something to eat, or I may go do laundry, or go do the dishes or something, go get a shower, go take the dog for a walk. And then you come back and then you crank out 10 more. And then you know what? At the end of like an hour or 2 hours later, you got your 50 listings up and it's on the platform. So now you went from 0 because you didn't feel like it to now you've got 50 listings on the board. It's almost like somebody that gets into a habit of going to the gym 3-4 days a week. You don't want to do it, but once you get in the habit of doing it, it helps. Also, another little trick I'll tell you guys is you got to have like an accountability partner. My little brother, he calls me every day and is on my butt. He said, hey, I'm at XYZ number of listings today. Where are you at? Do it with your buddies. Do it with your friends. Technology is so great. Just like Kathy's in New York, I'm all the way in Florida, and we can able to live stream together just like she's sitting in my living room, and we can sit down and chat together and say, hey, how was your day going? And we could just crank out listings together. So just like how you have a partner that goes with you to the gym, have you a listing partner, somebody else that lists on eBay, and you guys can sit down and list items together. So that way you don't feel like you're alone, So those are just a couple of things that I would say. The chat is moving today. She says, how many items do you both have listed on eBay? Well, my main eBay store, I have about 6,000 items right now on my main eBay store. And my goal this year is to get to 10,000. In my second eBay store, I have 200 items listed because it was on PayPal, and I was waiting for them to switch me over to managed payments so I could get my free listings. So that's where I'm at on that. And like I said, my goal this year is to hit 10,000 items, active items listed on the platform. If you guys watch Daily Refinement, he was talking about an analogy of like every item you have listed on eBay, it's like you're having another fish hook in the water. You have another hook in the water where you can do that.
Make sure, again, with the numbers thing, is, and Jeff, I know you do this, is don't list so fast that you overlook good keywords, because I inevitably will have people come to me and they have 1,000 listings up and 2,000 listings up, because it's not about how much you have listed. And again, Jeff's a fabulous seller, so I know he's doing well. How much are you selling? What is your sell-through rate? I remember one seller that also, because he said it publicly, his name is Tim Chapman. I believe his name on eBay is Mr. Customer Service. He was a regular guest on eBay Radio, and he's a collectible seller. So again, this doesn't work for everybody, and I don't think he does this anymore, but he did this for years. He listed everything in auction because his stuff was the kind of stuff that would get bid up. Again, I don't recommend this for every category because you can get killed in auctions, because now on eBay, typically you only get one bid, again, unless it's a very highly valued collectible. He sold through 100% of his inventory before he would go shop for more. But again, that works for him. He sold everything. So it wasn't about how many listings he had up, because I think he only typically had a couple hundred up, but he ran everything through auction, and he sold everything through auction. So, and I have sellers come to me, they literally will have thousands of listings up, but which means you got a lot of money tied up in inventory if you've got that many listings up. But their problem is they don't have the sell-through rate. So always look at, yes, you want to get those listings up. Yes, you want to source, but far more important to stay in shape is, because we were talking about the gym, is what is your sell-through rate? Are you selling regularly? And again, if you're in a very vintage collectible category, your sell-through rate is different, because typically your stuff will be up 1.5 years, 2 years. I've worked with some really good collectible sellers, but their margins, they have killer margins. So they're buying things for $5, $10, sometimes even $40, $50. But the things that they're buying for $50, they're selling for $500, but they're having to sit and wait for 2 years. So yes, numbers, but what is your sell-through rate and what are your margins? Because that's what is the life and death of an eBay seller. I love watching Shark Tank. Shark Tank is funny because Jeff and I were talking about TV shows. Shark Tank is brilliant. I mean, it's very entertaining, but listen to them. What do they ask? Almost immediately, like the person comes out, they pitch their business, they talk about their business. Immediately, one of the sharks will say, how much inventory do you have on hand? Because that's how much money is just sitting there, okay? And this is true whether it's food, clothing, anything. How much is invested in inventory? And what are your numbers? Which means how much are they selling? Because sometimes people are coming on Shark Tank because they've got purchase orders. They've got people that want to buy their stuff. They're listing on Amazon and place. They literally have purchase orders for hundreds of thousands of dollars of merchandise, but they don't have the money to buy the inventory. They had stuff, they sold it out, and however they manage their money, they don't have enough for inventory. So really watch your numbers. How much is invested? What are your margins? Because again, you can have small margins. You can sell stuff that you're only making a couple of bucks on. If it sells fast and you don't have to hang on to it very long. And my mind too is if you're not going to make a lot of money on it, that it's easy to pack. You just put like the DVDs, put it in the poly, label, boom, it's out the door. I don't have to bubble wrap it. I don't have to do box within a box. It's out. easy peasy. So numbers, but far more important, and really watch Shark Tank and listen to the questions that they ask. It's brilliant. Is inventory, margins, and your sell-through rate. Very important. Because if you don't have cash flow, Jeff, you know this, without cash flow, you're dead. Very simply, you're dead. You can't pay your bills. You can't buy inventory. So yes, invest in inventory, but make sure you keep a healthy cash flow. Make sure you're selling. Make sure it's going out the door. Like Jeff was saying, look at promotions manager. Be running promotions. Take a look at an auction. You may only make a few bucks, but you know what? You'll get that thing out the door and you'll make some money. So always be watching your cash flow. That's a big theme on Shark Tank for a healthy business is what is your cash flow? What's your cash on hand? They always ask this. And what's your debt?
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. But yeah, every item you sell, you don't have to hit a home run. Like, for example, I just sold a DVD yesterday and I paid 50 cents for it and it sold for $20. So everything doesn't have to be, it's a $20 item. It's not, it's not a $50 or $100 item. But what happens if I sell 5 of those a day? And my buy cost was $2.50. $2.50 turns into $100 in sales. So let me catch a few people in the chat.
It's the baseball season. It's a home run.
Right. I wanted to say hey to Wendy in the chat. We have Save Here First is here. This Overstuff's house says, I hear you. I get more done when I'm working third shift and nights. I was awake at night getting listings done. No one bothered me. That, like I said, you just want to get into your zone. Think about like a basketball player, a football player when they get into their zone. I wanted to say hey to Thrifting After Work. Says I like the bank account analogy. It says hey Jeff and Kathy. I wanted to say hey to my buddy Joey Bada Bing. He says yeah, I'm doing amazing. Thank you guys for coming by. Joey is he's in the final 4 of this bracket on WBK, if you guys don't know. And I wanted to say hey to Thrifting After Work, Save Here First. DMs is here, says hi all. And let's see. BK from the Rockies is here. So if you have questions for our guests, drop it in the chat. The Lone Star Pickers is here. He says, hey, everybody, I just got home, so I'm lurking. Thank you guys for coming by and hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys. And Annie is here. So thank you guys for coming by. So I had a question I wanted to ask you, and my brain just froze for a second. So
while you're freezing, this is my plug. So if you hop over to my website, I do have a website, ilovetobeselling.com. Just like what it sounds like, I love to be selling. I've got a freebie. So when you land on my website, you'll see a tab for free tips. Click it. And I've got one on eBay listings that sell. And I give you free tips to optimize your eBay listing. In fact, I was just talking to a senior eBay staffer. Without certain things in your listing, again, if it's highly collectible, highly desirable, or if you've made a mistake on pricing and you've priced it way too low, yes, it will sell. But very much now on eBay, which was not the case years ago when I first started selling on eBay, there's very much certain protocols you do want to follow in your listing that will really help you to get found. And that's what you want. Is you want to get found by shoppers, which means you have to get found by eBay search. And it doesn't hurt you to get found by Google search either. So grab that eBay listings that sell. It's completely free. It's on my website under free tips. And I have a YouTube channel too. So come subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
besides, of course, listening to every one of Jeff's YouTubes.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I have Kathy's links drop down below to her YouTube channel and Instagram. Yeah, I was going to say the item specific just came out recently, and that has been a big pain in the butt. I don't know if you guys have had problems with that, but I've been having to go back through and revise a lot of my items. Like, they hit me and they were like, you have 1,200 items that you have to go through and revise because Kathy was talking about, there's item specifics. And if people don't, you don't fill in those item specifics, it's not going to show up in the search engine. So if someone is looking for a particular item, let's say an ink pen or whatever it is, if they don't have that item specifics filled out, it'll show on your screen, it'll show that it's listed. But if you go to view your store, those items won't be actively listed in your store. So I would check that out, the item specifics in that particular category.
Well, Jeff, it'll be listed in your store. What happens with the item specifics, and back to our pen, is that's how they use it for what's called the left navigation bar. If you are on a desktop on eBay, you'll see there's a navigation bar on the left-hand side with all kinds of filters. Like if you're doing clothing, it's going to be color, it's going to be size. It can also be free shipping. Look at it. There's a ton. There's like 20, 30 tabs on the left. that you can filter by. And it's good for you to see those tabs, because what it is eBay shoppers are looking for that. That's why eBay has created those tabs. They're not just doing it willy-nilly. What it means is hundreds of thousands of people are looking for color, size, brand, free shipping. You can also sort by US only, yay US sellers, near me, and you can do it by miles. Like if I'm in a rush, I've got a birthday party, I need to get that gift. Unlikely, because I'm in New York, that I'm going to shop with somebody in California. I'm going to shop New Jersey. I'm going to shop Connecticut. You in Florida, you're going to shop Georgia. You might shop Texas. You might shop New York because you know that we're fast and we know how to find a mailbox. But the item specifics go into what is called the left navigation bar. The other place they go, if you're on a phone, is the filters on the phone. So when you're searching on eBay, you search and then there's filters. So I can search by size. There's a drop down, look at it. Again, if you don't shop on eBay, it's worth it to log on to your desktop while you're listing or taking a break from listing or on your phone. Pretend to shop and look at all the filters that are offered. Those typically are item specifics, and notice the ones that to you jump out to you: color, brand, free shipping. You can also search by return policy. There's a lot of filters. Those are your item specifics, and they are your business policies, and they are the filters on eBay.
All right, awesome. I wanted to say hey to Joey Butter being in the chat. He says, Jeff, this lady is awesome. It's a great choice for a live.
Thank you, Joey.
I wanted to say hey to Annie in the chat. We have a question from DM. Says, I worked for a shuttle service for quite a few years and had these little toy models of vans, and they're a mechanism where you pull them back and let them go and to zoom forward. Do you think they would sell on eBay? Well, what I was getting ready to get into, guys, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about on the eBay Spring Seller Update. And if you guys don't know, if you have the basic store now, and it was like $350, they cranked it up to 1,000 free listings in any category. And if you have the premium store, I think that they just raised the listing to like 10,000 items. So you have to think, if eBay is giving you 1,000 free listings for the basic store, and then they're going to give you 10,000 items for the premium store, you might as well go ahead and fill up those listings. It's free listings. It's not going to cost you anything. So if you have an example, like
Jeff, so with the toy, with the shuttle toy, I would absolutely, first of all, in case you don't know how to research prices on eBay, is you would search and you can click solds. Again, those filters, you can click sold. See if there's anything like that that's sold. If not, because you might have a unique collectible, there might be somebody looking for that they had one and it broke. So maybe there aren't other people selling it. I always say err on the side, go a little high in the price, like if you, and be sure to factor in shipping, so you're not getting killed on that. Always go a little high, maybe $19.99 with free shipping, $24.99, $29.99, particularly if they're new in the box, and put best offer on it. That way, if somebody sees it and they're like, oh, I got to have this, they'll just grab it and they won't send you an offer. Otherwise, you will get offers. And getting offers is good, even if they're really low, which can be very annoying, because what it means is people are interested in your item. eBay likes that. So when you get crazy offers, don't always be like, it's helping your item, because eBay's seeing that. I would totally list them, but watch your keywords. It's a toy, it's a car, whatever that push-pull action is called. And again, search on eBay. It doesn't have to be the exact item. What kind of keywords? How are they describing it? The function of the toy? Is it wind up? Is it just like a traction thing? So that you're listing it with the keywords, with the descriptions that people looking for would be able to find it. And that's what you're looking for. But I would totally do it with best offer. Let people come at you and just see what you're going to get for it. Especially if it was free. It's like, hey, if I'm listing it for $29.99 and somebody wants to give me $20 and I got it for free, you just made like $10, $12. For me, I'd be like, grab the money and run.
Right. And like we were just talking about, you're going to have free listings. You're going to get 1,000 listings. So might as well go ahead and just list it and see what happens. You got nothing to lose. So eBliss Reseller Solution says, hey, Jeff and Kathy. Thanks, Kathy, for providing amazing guidance for new and veteran resellers, Dave and Lori. Thank you guys for coming by. So I was getting ready to ask Kathy, since we still have you on the show.
Shout out to eBliss because they're fabulous. So those of you that have tons of inventory and you're expanding or you're selling so much or you have killer margins, eBliss, and I think they streamed with you. Yes, Jeff?
They were here on last week, I believe. Yeah, I'm surprised you knew that.
But yeah, a great solution where you can ship to them. They will warehouse and fulfill your items. So if you're overflowing in inventory and you have killer margins, check out eBliss. They're wonderful, wonderful sellers with a wonderful warehouse solution.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had them on as a guest last week. We have a question here from Safe Here First. Says, Kathy, is it best to do bundle items on eBay?
Research. So you're going to do the advanced search I spoke about. If you've got an eBay store, which is basic or higher, I don't think starter stores have Terapeak, but I could be wrong. I believe it's basic and higher. Look, the item that you're looking at, let's say you've got a bunch of eBay shirts. If it is a clothing, you want to make sure it's all the same size. I've seen people, actually, I saw a YouTuber do this. They were bundling things all different sizes, and then they said bundles don't work. And I said, bundles work when you bundle correctly. Very rarely does somebody want to buy a small, a medium, and a large. They usually want all larges, all mediums, all small. So look at it. Does it sell well individually or bundled? If it's a low ticket item, let's say like the DVDs, Jeff's DVDs, let's say, I don't want to pick any star, but let's say, we can pick somebody. Like, let's say it's Frank Sinatra DVDs. And let's say typically they only sell for like $5 or $6 a piece. But people love Frank Sinatra. So then maybe if I have 5 or 6 of his DVD movies that he was in, and they're only 5 or 6 a piece, throw them in a bundle. $30, especially because media mail is inexpensive. $30, free shipping media mail. You got your keywords Frank Sinatra, and then you're going to list the titles that it's in. And people do buy bundles like that by star, by director. It could be by the period, like these are all Victorian romance movies or Victorian CDs, or they're all country western variety. But always look at, especially when it's low ticket, if you're not going to make a lot of money, but you have a bunch of country western or a bunch of this artist, a bunch of mid-century modern knickknacks that don't go for a lot of money, do it as a bundle. Again, like Jeff said, we've got the free listings. Throw them together because you really want to be making like $19.99, $29.99 for it to be worth your while. Because it takes you time to photograph, to list, to do a little research, watch the clock. Don't be spending an hour on a listing that's going to be $12.99 with free shipping, okay? Unless you're new and you're learning. Is watch the clock. If this is a $12.99 item, $19.99 item, you should be getting this done in 15, 20 minutes flat. You should not be spending an hour and a half on a $9.99 free shipping item.
Yeah, I agree with what Kathy was saying. Is if you have items that are $3, $4, or $5 items, you could just bundle them together and put them in a lot. Saying Save Her First says, I have books 1 through 3. You can lot them up and say, okay, I've got 3 books, 5 books, 5 action figures, whatever it is. Put them in a lot, and then maybe instead of selling them for $5 or whatever, for $5, you can maybe put 3 of them together and sell them for $15 or $20 because it's in a lot. I wanted to say, hey,
Thomas the Train for kids stuff. It's great. Like my grandson loved Thomas the Train when he was really little. So I had like 15 Thomas the Train, which I bought on eBay, in the house. I sold them as a lot. They sold like that. Again, moms, grandmas, aunts, uncles, all that kids media stuff. People love it in lots because they've got kids coming to visit, or they want to have it on hand, or it's their kid's favorite artist. And they're $6, $7, $8 a piece. If you can put a bunch of them in a lot, let people save money on shipping. Again, because media mail is cheap, is you make much better money because the shipping's only going to run you $3 or $4.
Yeah, I had something like that a while back. I had a bunch of cassette tapes, and they weren't worth a lot of money by themselves, but I put them in a big lot, put them up, and they sold. It was like I got rid of like 30 of them in a big lot. So just that's just something that you can check out. I wanted to say hey to the Zombie Bargain Hunter just stopped by. He says, hey, Jeff and Kathy. And so I wanted to talk to you before we let you go, Kathy. You got to give us your top 3 tips that would help somebody. If they're a rookie seller or if they're a veteran seller, or maybe they're somebody that want to grow and scale their business and make more sales, they want to wake up and hear ka-ching in the morning when they wake up. Give us some of your top tips or tricks that you could give us. Because I know you're going to say, hey, I've got 1,000 of them on my YouTube channel for free, or check out my website. But while we have you here on the show, give me maybe your top 2 or 3 tips off the top of your head that you think would benefit our audience.
Absolutely. So top 3 tips for your eBay title. And eBay has said this numerous times, and there's data to back this up because we love eBay. Sometimes they say things and you're like, what? Your eBay title, you get 80 characters. That includes spaces. Okay. A character includes a space. It has proven that you typically will get a better price and a faster sell-through rate if you use 75 or more characters. And all you have to do is grab character counters are free. Just Google character counter, grab your title. Again, I'm really into do not spend half an hour doing this. Grab your title, throw it in a character counter. And eBay actually has character counters now in their title. As you're typing in the title, you'll see how many characters you're using. Try your hardest. Sometimes you have to get very creative. 75 or more. And it can be brand, color, size. And if you're at 74 and you've put S for small, type out small, SMALL. You want to get over 75 characters. That's something that newer sellers can do or more experienced. Second tip. If you have listings that are sitting for well over a year, now unique collectible, it takes a year and a half, 2 years or more to sell it. But typically if it's sitting there for more than 12, 16, 18 months, eBay search will see it as stale. So even if it's a collectible item that will sell, but it just takes a while, still go in and look at it. Did you do 75 to 80 characters? That's an easy fix. You can just add a really good keyword. Check your keywords. Okay, this is on stale listings. Is the most important keywords towards the front, which would be like brand and color. But if it's a collectible, it can be the period. So the most important keyword might be mid-century modern. It might be Victorian or Edwardian. It could be the actor in the movie. Sometimes, if it's a dud nothing movie that nobody cares about, but they love Frank Sinatra, you might want to put Frank Sinatra at the beginning. Okay. So if it's sitting there a long time, spend a little bit of time just going through it. Are your pictures in focus? Sometimes we're in such a rush. They're not. It's like, oops, I made that mistake. Just quickly take another picture. The other thing with a stale one is look at your pictures. That first image is called your hero image. It is the most important, particularly on mobile. Sometimes the second or third picture you picked is actually the more grabbing picture. Like it really gets my attention. It really shows the item. I'll see people and they'll lead with a picture of a box because it's the sneakers in a box or it's the doll in a box. But actually, if you show the sneakers or show the doll, that will grab my attention, maybe with the box in the background or the box open. So always think about what's going to help me stand out, particularly on stale listings, because you want to reawaken eBay to your wonderful item. Adding that keyword, rearranging the pictures can help to waken up your listing. And my third one is to list regularly. Now, if you're part-time, that might be that you're only listing 2 or 3 days a week. Yes, every day is a good idea, but at least 2 or 3 times a week. Okay. You don't want to list like everything on Saturday. It's like eating. You don't want to eat like all your food on Saturday and then you don't eat anything all week long, right? It's like eBay algorithms are the same. They like steady attention. So again, a couple of times a week is great. People that only have a few hours a week for their eBay, no, you don't have to list every day, but do check your customer service messages. That's my bonus tip. Because the faster you get back to these people, if they say, do you ship to Canada? Yes, it's in the listing. It's right there. They could be reading it, but for whatever reason, they're not. But I find the faster you answer and politely and nicely, even though at times you might be wanting to go, hello, it's in the listing, is you'll get the sale. Because you know what? They're in a rush. They didn't see it. Is that made in USA? Yes, it's made in USA. If I buy this today, will you ship it today? Yes, I'll buy it today. Or I'm sorry, I already ran to the post office, but I promise it'll go out tomorrow. When you answer quickly, oftentimes you'll get the sale. And this is why, because the big brands, okay, that are on eBay, they have autoresponders. You get and you'll get this if you shop, you'll know what I mean. You get a response saying, we got your message. We typically will get back to you within 1 business day. We don't work weekends. And if you're the nice smaller seller and you answer, and even if you're out, say, listen, I'm out running around. I'll be back in my office. Your home is always your office. I'll be back in my office, by 4 p.m. I'll be sure to have a response to you by 5. So many times people will say to me, thank you so much. I really appreciate you getting back to me. And if it is something that they want, if I do have the answer that they're looking for, I get the sale because I answered them. I answered them promptly. I gave them the information they wanted. They want to shop with me because they know I'm going to take care of them. And really, it's just like with QVC. Why do people buy on QVC? I'll tell you why. Their customer service is phenomenal. They take anything back, okay? They answer questions. They have US-based customer service, at least when I was on, that was superb. So if you're buying that ring and you were concerned about anything about it, is that you could wear it, you could look at it, and if you got it and it wasn't the color blue you thought or red, it was not a problem returning it. And even though I know returns is an aggravation, is we take care of our customers because you know what? Then they come back. Not abusive customers, good customers. Like I have people return stuff. It happens, not a lot, thankfully. So many times, because I'm nice in the way I take the return, I would say 20, 30% of those people turn around and buy something else with me within like a month or two. They'll say, you were great. Thank you so much. And
Right.
That's what you want. By you being nice, you're cultivating customers for all of us. Okay.
Right.
And I think most of the shoppers, they're not looking to return stuff, but I've done it. I shop on eBay every day. I get the shirt for my husband. You know what? It's not a large. It's a small. It was mistagged. It's not the seller's fault. Even though you feel like going, hello, do you not use a tape measure? But you know what? They didn't. They looked at it. It was tagged a large. They thought it was a large. I get it. I go, you know what? This is not a large. They take it back. It's fine. If they have something else, I'm glad to shop with them again.
Yeah, I was just talking about that yesterday. The goal is not to be mean to your customers. You want to have repeat customers come back every week, every 2 weeks, every month. Like, for example, if I sold someone a DVD, well, you have a DVD player in your house, Kathy. There's a very good chance that in 2 weeks from now, you might want to buy another DVD or another video game or electronic item, and I might have it in my store. So the idea is you want them to save you as a seller and come back and buy from you again. So before we let you go, Kathy, tell everybody where they can find you at on YouTube and Instagram. I want them to come by and check you out.
So if you Google me, because I know all about Google search, if you Google my name, Kathy Terrell, Terril, you will find me like everywhere. And I love to be selling my YouTube channel, Kathy Terrell. I love to be selling my blog website. I love to be selling. I have a Facebook business page, Kathy Terrell. I love to be selling. And Instagram, Kathy Terrell. I love to be selling. And I have a podcast, Kathy Terrell. I love to be selling. What I really specialize is business practices. I will give you inventory tips, absolutely. But really my specialty is, okay, you've got that great inventory. Now what? Now what do I do? So it's how to list it, how to get it sold. That's what I'm all about. Get it sold. Get it sold and for a good price and as quickly as possible. And again, that's going to vary depending on the item. But get that cash in your pocket because cash flow is crucial to have a flourishing, wonderful eBay business. And the other thing is that you have fun, that we have fun listing, we have fun shipping. There's all the parts of eBay because that's why we started selling. And that's why we continue to sell, because we love doing this, because it's fun.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, is being your own boss and having some boss breathing down your neck saying you when your bathroom break is, when your lunch break is, when you can go on vacation. You got to be, you're in the driver's seat, so that's what we're here for. So let me say hey to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Wendy. Meritic7 is in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Annie. Save Here First is in the chat. eBliss Reseller Solutions says with 185 million buyers, nobody beats eBay.
Exactly.
Mike says,
right. And make sure you ship international. That'll be our next show together, Jeff.
Okay, awesome. We'll have you back on. We'll have you back on again sometime. I wanted to say hey to Mike. He says good ideas, and I wanted to say hey to the zombie bargain hunter. Well, we've had you on the show for about an hour. Time flies. We could probably do another hour again sometime. So just give us your final thoughts, and we'll let you go, and let everybody else get back to their hopefully you guys are listening today. Hopefully that's what you guys are doing. That's why I was trying to put the bug in your ear and tell you guys that if you didn't know the spring seller update, you have 1,000 free listings. You might as well go ahead and use them. But Yeah, go ahead and give us your final thoughts, Kathy, and we'll let you go.
My final thought is I started eBay selling years ago because it gave me freedom. It gave me freedom to take care of my mom. It gave me a home-based business, which I really, really, really wanted. I wanted to be in control. I did not want to be at the mercy of other people. So I can take time off and take a weekend off or a day off when I need to and when I want to. And also that my business is mobile. If I move to another state, I can take it with me. And I continue to love selling on eBay because of the freedom it gives me. Also because of the wonderful sellers that you get to meet and the wonderful customers. You will get messages from customers that will absolutely blow you away. And that's a great, great, great joy. But with eBay, anything is possible. You can go from 0 to 6 figures. You will need to put in the work. There is no magic pill, but it is absolutely doable no matter where you are in the United States or the world, if you're willing to put in the work. But I do want to say is have fun. Be joyful. Because if not, we all might as well be doing a 9 to 5 behind a desk and surround yourself with people that are hardworking people, but also people that are fun people, that are joyful people, and also people that are encouraging people. There are sellers, I call them the sky is falling people, where, everything, or I call it evil eBay, evil eBay, the sky is falling, the world is ending, all shoppers are horrible, that kind of thing. Listen to them a little bit, but basically is surround yourself with people that are proactive, that look to make good choices, like Jeff, that are looking to make it work, that are looking to figure it out, that are looking to make it happen, that are not looking to find another way to moan and groan.
Yeah, guys, what I tell you guys is, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out the most with. So if you hang out with positive, like-minded people, you're going to be a positive, like-minded person. You hang around with a bunch of losers, a bunch of broke people, you're going to be the 6th broke person. So thank you guys all for coming on and hanging out with us today. I will see you guys tomorrow. We have my ecom world, Matt, will be on. He's going to tell us all about selling on Amazon and selling books. So I'll see you then. And like I said, Kathy's links are down below in the description below. So if you guys want to follow her on YouTube and Instagram, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.